Okay, good morning everyone. Good morning, grade 7. So it's because of the internet problem connection that I am encountering here in school. That's the reason why I prefer to record. Okay, so I prepare to record our discussion for this morning. So we are now in week 4 of our third quarter and it is entitled Exploring Culture and History Through Poetry. Okay, so but before that, let me define first what is culture all about. Okay, kultura in Filipino. So when we say culture, it is beliefs or actions that define a group of people's way of life. So it also includes traditions, values, behaviors, and institutions, and other cultural traits such as celebrations. So here in Santa Rosa, our culture here, for example, the celebrations, we are having Sikhayan. If you can still remember that, every January we are celebrating Sikhayan, while the other regions they are celebrating their Moriones, they are celebrating their Dinagyang. So it's because uh, we are dealing with the culture of us. So we have different culture wherever we are in different part of the Philippines. Okay, so now let me proceed with history. So the broadest meaning of history is the study of the past. So when we are studying about the past, we are dealing with history. The recording and analysis of experiences of society comprise the totality of people's history. So meaning to say, if we are always looking back what happened before, we are dealing with history. So that is history all about. And for us to understand clearly the topic that we have to be discussed this morning, let me define also what is poetry. So when we say poetry, it is a form of writing that uses not only words but also form, patterns of sound, imagery, and figurative language to convey the message of any literary piece. So again, our topic for today is about exploring the culture and history through poetry. Since we defined already what is culture all about, history and poetry, now let me deal with the focus of our discussion for today. Okay, so we're going to explain how a selection may be influenced by culture, history, environments, or other factors. So our enabling competencies for today is to identify the distinguishing features of revolutionary songs, poem, short stories, drama, and novels. Aside from that, we will going to discover also literature as a tool to assert one's unique and identify also the better understand other people. Okay, so I have here an activity. So I just want you to read, okay, the poem that we have here. So when we say poem class, it is tula in Filipino. So to honor and to love our country and noble acts that should be instilled in young minds like you, Ismail, a Philippine-born rapper, takes pride on the lyrics of Panalo, which shows his love of country. Okay, so there is a question here. How do you show your love for your country, its culture, and history? So how are we going to show our love to our country? Okay, not only for our country, but also to the history of this country also. So let me read this part. Tayo ay Pilipino, kahit anong kulay ng balat, isa sa puso. Mapa, Tagalog, Bisaya o Ilocano, walang tatalo sa pagsik ng ating dugo. Isigaw ng malakas ang ating pangako, panalo. Huwag nang pag-usapan ang mga negatibong pangyayari, sanman panig nasa mundo. Kinabukasan na natin to panalo. Panalo by Easy. Okay, so the point in this lesson talks about the pride of our country of being a Filipino. So it will help you realize the beauty and grandeur of our country. So as you read it, take notice of our uniqueness as a nation. You will also learn how to write and use the figurative language and also the imagery to add beauty in our poem. Okay, class. So we are using figurative languages. So when we say figurative languages in Filipino, it is katumbas of tayutay. Okay, so tayutay, figurative languages. Okay, so another, we are using also imagery. So meaning to say, we have to mention some points wherein the reader and the listener will create an image to her mind while reading or listening the piece. Okay, so figurative language gives clearness, force, and beauty to ideas and adds effectiveness to one's speech and writing. So figurative languages uses figures of speech. A figure of speech is any of words in a sense different from their literal definition. Let us review the most common figure of speech. So first, let we have the simile. When we say simile, uh, in Filipino, it is pagtutulan. So when we say simile, it means direct comparison between two objects of different kinds, which are, however, similar in one respect. It introduced also by such words like and as. For example, if we are or if we have to compare two unlike objects, like for example, the skin and the snow, your skin is white as a snow. Okay, so we compare the two different objects, the skin and the snow, and at the same moment, we are using the word as. So that is an example of simile. Another, we have here metaphor. So when we say metaphor, it is implied simile. Does not say that an object is like the other or act as the other, but compare the two objects as if they are one and the same. So unlike simile, we are also uh, dealing with metaphor. So when we say metaphor kasi, it's almost the same with simile, but the difference to each other is metaphor is not using like and as. Okay? For example, in simile, your face is like an angel. We are using the word like to compare the face and an angel. But in metaphor, you don't have to use like and as anymore to compare, okay? Or to give the same characteristic. For example, you are an angel. You don't have to say at all, you look like an angel. You look like an angel, or else your face is like an angel. Okay? So another is personification. So when we say personification, it deals with objects and animals are given human qualities. Again, objects and animals are given human qualities. Okay, so here in personification, we are giving life to an object. We are transferring the ability of a human to an object. For example, the moon smiles at me. Is it literally the moon will able to smile at you? No, right? Okay, so, okay, the ability having that kind of scenario is for a person only. Okay? But there, in the context of my statement, the context of my statement at all is the moon smiles at me. So meaning to say, you are giving what? You are giving quality of a human to an object or a body of nature. Okay, so that is personification all about. Okay, so let me go back. Simile, it's a comparison between two unlike objects with the use of like and as. Do not forget that. Metaphor, it's almost the same with simile. The difference only is, okay, metaphor is not using like and as. Okay, and personification, we are giving life to an object. Okay, so be careful, and you have to remember that. Okay, so we have here example for simile, like a tall woman walking across the rice field. The rain came slowly, dressed in crystal and the sun. Okay? Next, metaphor. Morning is a new sheet of paper for you to write on. And for personification, the waves dance as the sun smiles at them. Okay, going back with simile. So, like a tall woman, okay, it is compared to the rain, and we use the word like. Okay? In metaphor, morning is a new sheet of paper for you to write on. So, the two unlike objects being compared here is morning and a new sheet of paper. And take note, we are not using like and as. So, in personification, the waves dance as the sun smiles at them. Okay, class, do not be confused because we are using us here in personification. But take note, we are not comparing. Okay? We are not comparing to unlike objects here in our example in personification, unlike from the statement of simile. Kasi in the statement of simile, you are comparing also two different characteristic or an object or a person, okay? But here in personification, class take note, we use also as, but this time we are emphasizing that, okay, our statement has given an ability of a human or a person, okay, to the body of nature, okay, the waves and the sun. Okay, so we are giving them an ability of a person, okay, wherein in reality they can able to do that. Okay, so let me define also imagery. So imagery is an element of the poem that uses words to appeal to senses. It uses simile, metaphor, and personification, and other figures of speech. Imagery in literary works uses sensory experience such as sight, visual, sound, the auditory, touch or tactile, smell, olfactory, or taste gustatory, to describe the impressions of the writers and to create vivid pictures. So when we say vivid pictures, it refers to mental images that can explain the readers the meaning of a poem or prose. Okay, class. Let me assume our given personification a while ago, uh, let me assume the given personification a while ago about the moon smiles at me. So there, even though we can't able to see that the moon literally smiles at us, okay, we can able to imagine in our mind that the moon gives us smile. So with that, we are having the mental images. We create an image to our mind because of what we state in our statement or in our poem. Okay, so that is how we have the imagery. We have here six sensory image in literature. So they are namely sight, which appeals to the sense of seeing, and sound, which appeals to the sense of hearing, touch, which appeals to the sense of feeling, taste, which appeals to the sense of taste, smell, which appeals to the sense of smelling, and motion, which appeals to the sense of seeing in another dimension, that is movement. So we have here also the given example, and it is being emphasized also what sensory image involved in each expressions. Okay, so wind blew its hardest, so that is touch. Wind blew its hardest, so that is sense of touch. Next, bent its head gracefully. Bent its head gracefully, so that is the sense of sight. New fragrance. New fragrance. So new fragrance is in a sensory of smell. And then the sun comes up. The sun comes up. So how do you say that the sun comes up? It's because of your sense of sight. So therefore, the sensory experience that you encounter here is sight. Okay? So we have here glass a poem and it is entitled I am proud to be a Filipino. So we have to find out the reasons why the author is proud to be a Filipino and are you both proud of the same reasons? So it is entitled I am proud to be a Filipino by Toribia A. Mano. I will no longer read any more class. The poem because I will send the copy also into your respective group chat. But take note, class, while you are reading this poem, I want you to take down the figurative languages that you will be encountered in this poem. For example, simile, metaphor, personification, and what are those mental images created to your mind while you are reading this. Okay? Okay, so after reading the poem, after reading the poem in your soft copy, here are the questions that you will be answered. Number one, how are islands described in the poem? Number two, what are the Filipinos doing for a living according to the poem? Do you agree? And you have to support also your answer. What is the cure for the ills of man according to the poem? Do you agree? Support also your answer. Do you think it is our duty to be proud of being Filipino? Support your answer. Which Filipino trait or values described in the poem still hold true today? Which ones have changed? And explain your answer. Okay? So, these are part of your learning tasks for our discussion for today. So to end it up our lesson for today, let me define also poetry. So poetry is very personal. A poem means something special to you because you have encountered the feelings it expresses. You may have seen the picture it portrays or agreed with the idea it promotes. When you read a poem, involve yourself in the whole process and appreciate rather the new and unique way that this makes you feel. You will see how it reflects culture, history, environment, or other factors. Lastly, appreciate how figurative language and imagery add beauty and creativity to literary piece. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you and God bless everyone. Okay, grade 7 students, I want you to focus only in identifying the figurative languages and the figure of speech which are simile, metaphor, and personification because that will be the content of your Google link later. I will send later the copy of your Google form for you to answer and again review how we construct simile, metaphor, and personification. Okay? Thank you and God bless everyone.